Before it was a franchise, and before it became fan theory fuel, Five Nights at Freddy's was just a dark little indie horror game where you sat in a chair and waited to die. But buried inside that loop of flickering cameras and animatronic death traps was a story. Not a story told in a straight line, but a narrative unfolded in reverse, splintered across decades of in-game timelines, audio logs, and haunted pixels. And at the center of it all, a man named William Afton. This is the story of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a story of obsession, guilt, and ghosts, one that builds not by addition, but by excavation. We dig back through the blood-stained walls of a children's restaurant empire to find something deeper than lore, a tragedy, a descent. In FNaF 1, you are alone, a night guard trapped in a space designed for joy, but overrun by the grotesque. Cameras flicker, doors jam, power drains, but beneath the gameplay, something stirs. The animatronics aren't malfunctioning, they are possessed. But by who? The answer hides in newspaper clippings and cryptic AI barks. 5 missing children. An unsolved case. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza as a murder scene masquerading as a business. And FNaF 2 takes us backwards, new building, new animatronics, but earlier in the timeline we see a company trying to rebrand, covering its crimes with brighter lights and more mascots.
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I'm here to talk you through some of the things you can expect to see during your first week here and to help you get started down this new and exciting career path. Now, I want you to forget anything you may have heard about the old locations, you know. Some people still have a somewhat negative impression of the company. That old restaurant was kind of left to rot for quite a while, but I want to reassure you, Fazbear Entertainment is committed to family fun and above all, safety. They've spent a small fortune on these new animatronics. Facial recognition, advanced mobility, they even let them walk around during the day. Isn't that neat? But most importantly, they're all tied into some kind of criminal database so they can detect a predator a mile away. Heck, we should be paying them to guard you. Now that being said, no new system is without its kinks. You're only the second guard to work at that location. The first guy finished his week but complained about conditions. We switched him over to the day shift. So, hey, lucky you, right? Mainly he expressed concern that certain characters seemed to move around at night and even attempted to get into his office. Now, from what we know, that should be impossible. That restaurant should be the safest place on Earth. So while our engineers don't really have an explanation for this, the working theory is that the robots were never given a proper night mode. So when it gets quiet, they think they're in the wrong room. So then they go try to find where the people are, and in this case, that's your office. So our temporary solution is this. There's a music box over by the prize counter, and it's rigged to be wound up remotely. So just every once in a while, switch over to the prize counter video feed and wind it up for a few seconds. It doesn't seem to affect all of the animatronics, but it does affect one of them. And as for the rest of them, we have an even easier solution. You see, there may be a minor glitch in the system, something about the robot seeing you as an endoskeleton without his costume on and wanting to stuff you into the suit. So hey, we've given you an empty Freddy Fazbear head. Problem solved. You can put it on any time and leave it on for as long as you want. Eventually anything that wandered in will wander back out. Something else worth mentioning is kind of the quirky modern design of the building. You may have noticed there are no doors for you to close. But hey, you have light, and even though your flashlight can run out of power, the building cannot. So don't worry about the place going dark. Well, I think that's it. You should be golden. Check the lights, put on the Freddy head if you need to. Keep the music box wound up. Piece of cake. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
And yet, the violence continues. Minigames show purple sprites luring children. One of them is the man behind it all, William Afton, a name we don't know yet, but a presence we feel. He wears the suit. He kills the suits. Remember, FNaF 3 throws us into a horror attraction, a haunted house built around the legacy of Freddy Fazbear, but the past doesn't stay buried.
Hey, glad you came back for another night. I promise it'll be a lot more interesting this time. We found some great new relics over the weekend, and we're out tracking down a new lead right now. So, let me just update you real quick, then you can get to work. Like, the attraction opens in like a week, so we have to make sure everything works and nothing catches on fire. When the place opens, people will come in at the opposite end of the building and work their way toward you, and past you, and out the exit. Yeah, you've officially become part of the attraction. You'll be starring as a security guard. So not only will you be monitoring the people on the camera as they pass through, you know, to make sure no one steals anything or makes out in the corner, but you'll also be a part of the show. It'll make it feel really authentic, I think. Now let me tell you about what's new. We found another set of drawings, always nice, and a foxy head, which we think could be authentic. Then again, it might just be another crappy cosplay. And we found a desk fan, very old school, metal though. So watch the fingers. Right now the place is basically just, you know, flashing lights and spooky props. I honestly thought we'd have more by now. If we don't have something really cool by next week, then we may have to suit you up in a furry suit and make you walk around saying, boo. But, you know, like I said, we're trying to track down a good lead right now. Some guy who helped design one of the buildings says it was like an extra room that got boarded up, or something like that. So we're going to take a peek and see what we can find. For now, just get comfortable with the new setup. You can check the security cameras over to your right with the click of that blue button. You can toggle between the hall cams and the vent cams. Then over to your far left, you can flip up your maintenance panel. You know, use this to reboot any systems that may go offline. In trying to make the place feel vintage, we may have overdone it a bit. Some of this equipment is barely functional. Yeah, I wasn't joking about the fire. That's a real risk. The most important thing you want to watch for is the ventilation. Look, this place will give you the spooks, man, and if you let that ventilation go offline, then you'll start seeing some crazy stuff, man. Keep that air flowing. Okay, keep an eye on things, and we'll try to have something new for you tomorrow night.
Springtrap returns, a rotted husk of a man trapped inside a mechanical suit. William Afton didn't just kill, he tried to hide in the very machines he created. But death caught up to him, or at least something like it. The hallucinations, the phantoms, the static, it's not just gameplay, it's the story of a killer who tried to escape consequences by becoming part of the haunt. But he was never alone. The spirits he created came with him. And FNaF 4 fractures the narrative even more. We are no longer in a security office. We are in a child's bedroom. The horror is no longer at a distance. It is inside of the mind. The crying child, the bite, the nightmares, its memory as trauma, dressed in fur and teeth, and some believe this child is Afton's son. FNaF 4 may be the moment that sins come home. The house is quiet, the toys are watching, the child is scared, and still the animatronics continue. Sister location is the pivot. We meet Circus Baby, Ballora, the Funtime crew, beautiful, elegant, designed not just to entertain, but to lure. This is Afton's next phase. He's no longer content to kill, he wants to perfect it, to mechanize it.
As the moon rises, so also rises the tension between scorned lovers.
Clara, it's not my baby!
Vlad, you suck.
Wait, was that a vampire joke? That was so lame, Clara, like I haven't heard that a million times.
Okay, well, how's this? I'm taking the car.
The joke's on you, it's a rental.
Well, the joke's on you. I set the thermostat to 90 before I left.
Good, I like it warm.
Good, because I also set the house on fire.
How will it all end? The passion, the tension, the intrigue. Tune in tomorrow for the exciting conclusion.
To cheat death through design. But it breaks. Everything breaks. Baby kills a child, his own daughter. Ballora sings of lost time. The underground facility becomes a tomb, and the player becomes a husk, a host. In the end, Afton tries to upload himself, to persist beyond death, but his creations rebel. He is scooped out, replaced. His soul doesn't find peace, it finds replication. FNaF 6, the pizzeria simulator, is the reckoning. You are building a restaurant, but what you are really doing is setting a trap. One by one, the haunted remnants return. Baby, Molten Freddy, Scrap Trap, Lefty, each one drawn in by the promise of closure, and waiting for them is Henry, Afton's old partner. His speech is quiet, mournful. This ends for all of us. And it does. The building burns, the spirits are released. Afton is consumed, not just killed, but purged. Five Nights at Freddy's isn't about jump scares. It's about what happens when we bury guilt beneath entertainment. When we try to rebrand horror instead of facing it, it's about a father who destroyed his family, a friend who tried to make it right, and a dozen children whose laughter turned into static. And it all began with a restaurant, with a mascot, with a lie. This is not a timeline. This is a requiem for innocence lost, for memories corrupted, and for a man who became the very monster he thought he could control. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is closed for good, but the echo remains.
The newly rebranded Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Wear that smile with pride, and let's make some money. Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for disappearance, death, or dismemberment.